There's a moment, and if you felt it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with applause. It comes quietly, sometimes at 2 a.m., sometimes in traffic, sometimes right in the middle of a conversation you're no longer pretending to care about. And the moment says this: I can't do this anymore. But it's not burnout. It's not exhaustion. It's awakening. It's your soul tapping on the glass, whispering, this version of you was never the final form. And here's the part no one talks about. This moment doesn't feel empowering. It feels like breaking, like something inside of you is falling apart, and maybe it is, but not the part you think. What's cracking isn't your strength, it's your illusion. The identity you built to survive, not thrive. The patterns you rehearsed to keep people comfortable. The version of you that always nodded, smiled, adjusted, shrank. That version is running out of oxygen because your real self is finally waking up, and it's not asking for permission anymore. Now pause. Ask yourself this: why am I really tired all the time? Why do I feel like I'm doing everything right but still feel lost? Why does the life I've built sometimes feel like it belongs to someone else? The answer isn't laziness. It's not lack of discipline. It's not even failure. It's misalignment. You've been living by a script that wasn't written by you. And every day you follow it, your body might be functional, but your mind drifts, your attention fractures, your passion dulls. That's not dysfunction. That's your core intelligence trying to get your attention. And if you don't answer it, that dullness spreads into your relationships, into your mornings, into your future. But when you do answer it, when you stop running, stop numbing, stop pretending, everything begins to shift. Not all at once, not dramatically, but permanently. Because when you wake up inside, you stop negotiating with noise. This is the beginning of that wake up. And I don't mean motivation. Motivation fades. This is something different. This is reprogramming. It's a reminder of what's already in you, but buried under layers of expectations, guilt, performance, survival. You've never needed to be louder. You've needed to be clearer, not with the world, with yourself. Because clarity changes behavior. And when behavior changes, life changes. Not because the world got easier, but because you stopped moving like a man trying to be liked and started moving like a man who finally remembers what he came here to do. So from here on out, don't try to fix the surface. Don't just organize your schedule. Don't just read more books. Don't just optimize your to-do list. Go deeper, because the problem has never been your capacity, it's been your alignment. And the moment you get that right, the exhaustion disappears. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop leaking energy trying to maintain an identity that is not yours anymore. This is that moment. Let it break something in you. Let it crack the shell. Because what comes next is the real beginning. You tell yourself you're tired. You say you're burned out, overwhelmed, unmotivated. And maybe part of that is true. But what if I told you you're not actually overwhelmed? You're overstimulated. There's a difference. Because overwhelmed means you've got too much on your plate. But overstimulated means you've got too much in your mind and barely any of it belongs to you. You're not drowning in responsibilities. You're drowning in inputs. Endless scroll, background noise, notifications, opinions, trends, drama, tasks that aren't urgent but feel like emergencies. People asking for your energy without offering clarity in return. It's not just external pressure. It's internal chaos, a storm of tabs open in your head 24/7. And you were never meant to run like this. Let me be blunt. Your brain was designed for focus, not fragmentation. It was built to solve meaningful problems, not process 300 distractions before breakfast. And the worst part? You've normalized it. You've trained yourself to function in dysfunction, to run on fractured focus, to adapt to noise instead of silence, to chase clarity through confusion. No wonder you feel stuck. No wonder your creativity feels dead. No wonder your body is tense even when nothing is wrong. This isn't weakness. It's a feedback signal from your nervous system. You're operating in an environment your mind was never built to handle. So what do? You don't need more energy. You need to close loops. Start small, but start now. Silence the non-essential. Pause the conversations that lead nowhere. Reduce how often people can reach you. Unplug from digital environments designed to keep you emotionally reactive. Not forever, just long enough to remember who you are when it's quiet. Because when you strip away the noise, what's left? You, your real thoughts, your real desires, your real rhythm. And that's where momentum begins. Here's the truth. You can't create clarity from chaos. You can't build presence from panic. You can't access vision when you're drowning in visual stimulation. So stop trying to think your way out. Start simplifying your way out. Clean your space. Clean your schedule. Clean your digital life. Because every open loop in your world is a leak in your mental energy. And once you simplify, something amazing happens. You feel your body start to relax without even trying. You feel time stretch like it's finally under your control again. You feel like you can finally breathe without being productive. That's not laziness. That's presence. And it's from that place that power returns. Because clarity is your original state. Confusion was installed. And now you uninstall it. This is your space now. This is your mind. This is your energy. And the world doesn't get unlimited access to it anymore. You're not overwhelmed. You've just been overstimulated by things you never truly agreed to. But now you know. Now you choose different. And when the noise returns, because it always will, you'll be ready. Not to fight it, but to filter it, to protect your attention like your future depends on it. Because it does. Every time you react, you leak power. Think about that. Not just in anger, not just in conflict, but in every moment you allow something outside of you to dictate your internal state. A message, a tone of voice, a delay, a misunderstanding, a sideways glance. If it can pull you out of yourself, it owns you, at least temporarily. And most people are owned by hundreds of tiny triggers every single day. They're in a state of constant emotional outsourcing, handing over their inner calm to whoever presses the right button. But here's the truth. The moment you stop reacting, you start leading. Because when you stop reacting, you don't just avoid conflict, you create space. Space to observe, to interpret, to decide rather than obey your first emotional impulse. This is where real power lives. Not in controlling others, but in controlling your state in the presence of others. That's leadership. That's clarity. That's how influence is built quietly. Let me break this down even further. Every person you meet is walking around with their own storm. Some calm, some chaotic, some self-aware, some deeply reactive. And the moment you match their chaos, you've lost. Because now you're operating at their frequency, not yours. But when you hold your ground, when you pause before you speak, when you observe instead of react, you send a different signal. You become the anchor. And anchors don't move, even when the tide pulls hardest. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become selective. selective with your attention, selective with your responses, selective with the energy you allow to shape your internal world. Because power isn't loud. It's not urgent. It doesn't need to rush in and prove a point. Power is measured, deliberate, unmoved by small things, and the one who controls their emotional tempo controls the room. Here's a simple test. Think of the last time someone said something that bothered you. Now ask, did I respond to clarify or react to defend? Did I hold my frame or collapse into theirs? It's not about shame. It's about awareness. Because when you start noticing your reactions, you stop being owned by them. You start choosing. And in that choosing, you take your power back. So let this become your new code. You don't flinch at disrespect, you observe it. You don't rush to correct, you wait for the right moment. You don't fire back because you're not trying to win battles that don't matter. You move on your terms, at your pace, from your center. And that calm will confuse people who are addicted to control. But it will also attract people who respect self-mastery, and that's who you're meant to be surrounded by. So from this point on, don't rush to respond. Don't explain yourself to noise. Don't hand over your center to every spark of conflict. Let people feel the weight of your silence. Let them adjust to your stillness. Let them realize you're not just reacting anymore. You're building. And builders don't move off emotion. They move off vision. Let me tell you something most people will never admit. You're often more valuable when you're not around. That's not rejection. That's reality. And once you understand it, you stop over-explaining, over-showing, over-proving. Because what people see all the time, they begin to take for granted. Not because they're bad, but because that's how human psychology works. We're wired to value what's scarce, to lean into what creates space, to chase what feels just slightly out of reach. And if you're always available emotionally, physically, mentally, you become predictable. And predictable energy gets overlooked. So what's the move? You learn the art of strategic distance. Not coldness, not ghosting, not passive aggression. Just intentional withdrawal for clarity, for power, for truth. Because when you pull back, everything reveals itself. You see who checks in and who only responds to your presence. You see which conversations dry up when you're not initiating. You see how fast the people around you recalibrate once they feel your absence. It's not about playing games. It's about seeing clearly without distortion. Because when you're always in the room, always in the message thread, always on the call, people never have to ask themselves what your presence means. But the moment you're not there, they feel it. And in that space, they finally realize what they've been unconsciously leaning on. Think about how that applies in every area of life. In relationships, space reveals intent. In friendships, distance reveals effort. In business, scarcity drives demand. In leadership, silence forces people to step up or fall off. And the best part? You don't have to say a word. No big announcement. No emotional farewell. Just a clean step back, anchored in self-respect, not self-pity. That's presence control. And once you learn it, you stop trying to get people to understand you. You let them feel what life is like without your energy in it. Here's the internal shift. You stop saying, I hope they see my worth, and start living like, my worth is not up for discussion. It's up to me to protect. And when you live like that, people adjust. Some will step forward with new clarity. Some will fade, and that's your filter. Some will watch in silence, confused, but eventually they'll respect the shift they couldn't predict. Either way, you win. because now you've reclaimed your leverage and you're using it without needing validation. Let's make this tactical. If a space feels draining, take distance. If a person feels entitled to your energy, create space. If your calendar is full of noise, subtract instead of adding. And don't explain it. Just do it. Your evolution doesn't require permission, only pattern breaking. So next time you feel tempted to over-engage, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this from clarity or habit? Am I being present because I want to or because I'm afraid of what distance might reveal? Then take a breath and make a different move. Because that distance, that pause, that sudden drop in availability, it says something louder than words ever could. I'm not here to prove my worth through constant presence. I'm here to live in alignment, even if it costs me comfort. And comfort is always the first thing you must lose before you gain true power. Have you ever met someone who didn't need to raise their voice, didn't need to explain themselves, didn't even need to dominate the conversation, but still everyone listened? That's presence. And not just any presence, calm presence. The kind that doesn't demand space, it commands it. And here's what most people never understand. Calm presence is more influential than loud persuasion. Why? Because calm signals certainty. It says, I know who I am. I'm not here to prove it, just to live it. That kind of energy disarms people. It resets the room. It makes others lean in without even realizing why. You see, the world is full of noise. People talking fast to sound smart. People raising their voice to seem confident. People interrupting just to stay relevant. But when you stay grounded, when your voice is paced, your posture is still, your gaze is steady, you interrupt the entire rhythm of chaos. And in that stillness, you become the axis, the thing the conversation now rotates around. That's real influence. Let's break this down practically. Tone over volume. Speak low, speak slow. When people have to lean in to hear you, they listen differently. Pause before speaking. A 1-second pause says, I'm not reacting, I'm choosing my words. I own this tempo. It creates weight. It makes people wait, and that builds value. Stillness over fidgeting. Your body sends signals faster than your mouth ever can. Still body equals still mind. And still minds are trusted, especially in a crisis. Short sentences, long impact. You don't need to say much. You just need to say it with clarity and space. Let your words land like bricks, not feathers. Now, let me say this clearly. Calm presence is not about being emotionless. It's not about pretending to be above it all. It's about discipline, emotional discipline, verbal discipline, social discipline. It's about showing people that you're not at the mercy of the room. The room moves through you, not against you. You don't need to overpower anyone. You just need to make your energy undeniable. Here's the test. Next time you walk into a room, don't rush to speak. Scan the energy. Observe the tempo. Then speak when you have something to say, not something to prove. Watch what happens. You'll notice people recalibrate their tone around yours. They'll stop interrupting. They'll take your words more seriously, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. This is how leaders lead. This is how legends move. So ask yourself, can you stay still when others are spiraling? Can you speak slowly when everyone else is rushing? Can you say less and be heard more? If you can, you've already won. Because power isn't about control. It's about composure. And composure in a reactive world is magnetic. Let this be your reminder. You don't need to shout. You don't need to perform. You don't need to flood people with energy to be taken seriously. You just need to become the kind of person whose silence speaks first. And when you walk like that, talk like that, Live like that. People won't forget how they felt around you, even if they forget what you said. Every decision you make, every habit you repeat, every standard you tolerate, it all flows from one thing: your identity. Not the one you show online, not the one people assume about you. The real one, the quiet, automatic story that plays inside your head when no one's watching. Most people try to change their lives by focusing on actions. They set goals. They build routines. They start strong and then fall off. Why? Because they're trying to act like someone they don't believe they are. And behavior that conflicts with identity will always break down. Always. Let me show you the difference. If I tell myself, I need to force myself to wake up early, that's friction. But if I believe, I'm the kind of man who gets up early because I protect my time, that's identity. No friction, no drama, no hype required. Because actions that match identity don't need willpower, they just happen. So the real question is this: who are you becoming? Not what are your goals, not what's your schedule, not what books you've read, but what kind of man do you see when you close your eyes and imagine yourself at your peak? Because if that image is vague, if it's inconsistent, if it's just not this version of me, then your life will stay in limbo. You cannot build a focused future from a foggy self-image. So let's get clear. Do you see yourself as a man who is grounded under pressure? A man who moves with discipline even when no one's watching? A man who filters his circle because he respects his energy? A man who speaks with clarity and leads with calm? Because if that's who you believe you are, your actions will snap into alignment. And every time you act in that direction, even in small ways, the identity gets reinforced. You're casting votes for the man you're becoming. Every morning routine, every deep breath instead of reaction, every boundary you hold, every time you pause instead of proving, all of it, it's identity cementing itself into place. Now let's be real. Your old identity, it's not going down without a fight. It will whisper, but you've always done it this way. But that's not like you. But people will notice the change. Let them notice. Let the voice panic. Let the friction show up. Because friction is evidence that the old code is being overwritten. This isn't about faking confidence. It's about building internal credibility. You keep promises to yourself. You show up when it's inconvenient. You make decisions based on who you are, not just how you feel. And slowly, day by day, action by action, the old self fades. Here's the new code. I am not waiting to feel ready. I am not waiting to be perfect. I am not waiting for approval. I am becoming the man I've always known I could be, one decision at a time. And if that means losing people, losing habits, losing comfort, so be it. Because I refuse to live one more day in conflict with the man I know I'm meant to be. There's a voice in your head. It talks fast. It questions everything. It second guesses you. It replays mistakes. It tells you to wait, to shrink, to be careful. And here's what no one tells you. That voice isn't you. Not originally. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born self-conscious. You weren't born afraid to take up space. You learned that voice sentence by sentence, moment by moment, from people who didn't know how to carry their own power, so they projected their fear onto you. Parents, teachers, friends, exes, authority figures, the culture you grew up in, all of it layered onto you like programming. And eventually it became so familiar, you mistook it for your own mind. Let me make this crystal clear. That voice that says you're not enough? Installed. That voice that says you need to earn love, installed. That voice that says you're too much, too quiet, too weird, too intense, all installed. None of that is your true voice. That's noise. That's training. That's survival mode thought loops running on autopilot. But here's the good news. If it was installed, it can be uninstalled. If it was learned, it can be unlearned. If it was planted, it can be pulled up by the root. And that's what we're doing now. Not fixing you. You were never broken. We're removing the dust that's been covering your clarity. Because once you hear your real voice, your grounded, present, clean voice, it feels different. It doesn't rush. It doesn't beg. It doesn't shame. It speaks with calm, with direction, with knowing. And the more you listen for it, the louder it becomes. But first, you need to become a filter. Start noticing, where did this thought come from? Is this my belief or someone else's rule I never questioned? Who does this voice actually sound like? This is how you separate truth from programming. This is how you begin to lead your own mind instead of being led by it. Because if you don't take the wheel, that voice will drive you straight back into the life you're trying to grow out of. You have to interrupt the script, even mid-thought. When your mind starts spiraling, what if I fail? Stop. Ask, where did I first learn that failure meant rejection? When your mind says, they won't respect me if I say no. Stop. Ask, who taught me that my value is based on compliance? This is the real work, not hustling harder, not waking up earlier, but excavating the architecture of your internal world. Because once you rewire the core, everything else becomes natural. So here's your practice. Catch the voice. Question the voice. Replace the voice. Not with fake positivity, but with clean certainty. Not, I'm amazing and perfect, but I'm in control now. I know what I stand for. I don't need to carry what was never mine. Because your mind is a garden, and some of what's growing there was planted by people who never watered their own. Pull it out. Replace it with your code, your rhythm, your clarity. And day by day, you'll stop doubting yourself. Not because the fear disappeared, but because your real voice finally got louder than the old one. Let these words sink in. Don't just hear them, absorb them. Let them echo. Let them overwrite the noise. Let them become the language of your internal world. You can repeat them silently. You can whisper them, or just let them flow in the background while you move, breathe, think. I don't chase validation. I carry presence. I don't beg to be seen. I live in alignment. I don't ask for permission to move forward. I give it to myself. I am not reactive. I am composed. I don't match chaos. I regulate myself. I do not collapse in storms. I anchor them. I speak less and every word lands. I don't prove my value. I embody it. I'm not for everyone, and that's not a flaw. It's a filter. I create distance when I need clarity. I don't abandon myself to stay connected. I protect my energy because my future depends on it. I am no longer emotionally available to things that dilute my focus. I don't argue with noise. I withdraw with discipline. My silence is not weakness. It's a signal that I'm in control. I don't owe access to everyone. I don't explain my elevation. I don't overstay in places where I have to shrink to fit. When doubt shows up, I don't spiral. I slow down. When discomfort shows up, I lean in because growth is near. When I feel fear, I don't retreat. I recalibrate. I trust my rhythm. I move with clarity. I lead with stillness. I don't try to become someone else. I become more of who I already am, refined, sharpened, aligned. I don't seek certainty from the world. I create it in myself. I don't fear solitude. I respect it because clarity lives there. My life bends to my assumptions. My future is shaped by the identity I live in today. My inner voice is my compass, and it speaks with clarity now. I speak with intention. I move with purpose. I stay in my lane and I build it deeper, not wider. I am not addicted to being understood. I am not driven by performance. I am not waiting for permission to level up. This is my time. This is my space. This is my frequency, and only those who match it are allowed near. I breathe through resistance. I lead through example. I hold my ground even in silence. I let go of identities that no longer fit. I detach from stories that no longer serve. I upgrade my operating system without apology. I don't dilute my power for comfort. I don't apologize for protecting my standards. I don't flinch when others question the new version of me. I am becoming the man I was built to be. Not by forcing, not by faking, but by choosing again and again to rise. In every decision, in every breath, in every moment, I could fall back into old patterns, but don't. That's power, and it's mine now. Let this new code settle. Let it live in your body. Let it become the voice that leads you no matter what chaos surrounds you. You are not building confidence. You are building identity. And identity doesn't shift overnight, but it does shift each time you act like the man you say you are. Keep choosing, keep sharpening, keep becoming. The world adjusts to the man who walks like he already knows where he's going. And now, you do. You didn't listen to this to escape. You listened to return different. Not louder, not harder, not heavier, but clearer. The kind of clarity that doesn't need to announce itself. The kind that doesn't have to prove anything. The kind that walks into the world with no tension, no rush, no panic, just direction. Because now you know that most of your noise wasn't yours, it was inherited. That most of your doubts weren't personal, it was installed. That most of your exhaustion wasn't about doing too much, it was about carrying too much of what no longer belongs to you. And now, you've put it down. You've stepped back. You've chosen calm over chaos and clarity over control. You've remembered what so many people forget, that the most powerful energy in the room is never the one fighting for attention. It's the one that doesn't need it. So this is how you re-enter. You don't explain the shift. You embody it. You don't defend your peace. You protect it with presence. You don't rehearse how to say the right thing. You speak slowly, clearly, when it matters. You don't seek applause. You walk like your vision is already unfolding because it is. You re-enter your spaces with a new filter. You'll feel the difference right away. What used to drain you now repels you. What used to tempt you now bores you. What used to distract you can't reach you anymore. Because the man returning to his life now is not the same one who hit play. He's not looking for proof. He's not chasing approval. He's not waiting for the world to adjust. He is the adjustment. He moves first, and the world follows. So here's your next step. Not 10 new goals. Not another checklist. Not another dopamine rush from chasing the next version of self-help. Just one thing. Hold the line. Hold the clarity. Hold the posture. Hold the pace. Hold the decisions you made while listening even when the noise returns. Because it will. And when it does, you won't panic. You'll remember. You'll pause. Breathe. Respond, not react. Lead, not chase. Decide, not defend. That's how you stay grounded when the world starts spinning again. Let people talk. Let old patterns knock. Let uncertainty visit. You've already chosen who you are now, and that choice isn't up for renegotiation. Not today. Not anymore. So step back into your world, not with noise, not with pressure, with presence. Let your new frequency speak louder than your words. Let your stillness reintroduce you. Because this isn't the end of a video. It's the beginning of your real self finally activated. Welcome back. We've been waiting for you.